Agriculture not only gives riches to a nation, but the only riches that she can call her own. Critical words from chemist Samuel Johnson, and I think words that laid the backdrop for what we are here to talk about today in our Agri-business conference. Growth, innovation, how do we explore opportunities and ensure that we have an agricultural sector that is resilient. I'm very happy to be given this opportunity by the eBiome team to give you a short address to speak a little bit about the opportunities that are there in our agricultural sector here in Jamaica and some of the steps that the government is taking to build resilience. I must say this agribusiness conference could not have come at a better time. A challenging time for the entire world where we have been grappling with the pandemic of the coronavirus, and a challenging time for here at Jamaica where those challenges have been made even more difficult by various weather events. But I genuinely believe in every challenge is an opportunity, and that is the reality for agriculture. And the opportunity in agriculture is really agri-business. And we truly need to take the time to explore the real opportunities that have presented themselves. That some that were there from before, but some that have come about largely due to COVID-19. And I'll speak a little bit about some of those. For us, despite the challenges of COVID-19, we still recognize that agricultural produce, our crops, items from our fishery sector are in high demand. And despite the fall off in things like tourism, I think COVID-19 has brought into sharp focus the fact that the most important people in our society are in fact our food heroes. Everybody has been asking, how can we feed ourselves? Will we be able to feed ourselves? And the answer is those who have harnessed the potential and the capacity to cultivate our land and to give us food are the most critical people around. So when we think of the opportunities in agriculture, we have to first start locally and look at the local demand for our products. We did a demand study in the tourism sector before its downturn, and we recognize that the food industry in our tourism sector is a $40 billion industry. And our agricultural sector is only taking advantage of about 30% of that $40 billion industry. For me, that is a tremendous opportunity. But it doesn't stop there, because a number of the items that we cultivate, we're still not able to fulfill local demand. And again, COVID-19 taught us something. When we saw the downturn in the hotel sector, and the ministry intervened by buying excess produce from our farmers and looking for avenues to redistribute them, we developed mobile markets and started to take the produce into areas that we thought the demand was high. And we found that there was tremendous demand. But not only was there tremendous demand, but we were not disturbing the regular supply chain. So our markets still did well. Our supermarkets still did well, while we were able to move over 1 million kilograms of produce. So there is unmet local demand. Things like Irish potato we have done much better in, but we're still just at about 80% of the total demand. Onions, we're nowhere near our total demand. We're about 40%. So there are tremendous opportunities. And that is just in relation to our local markets. Let us talk a little bit about our regional markets. The fact that all our items are protected, our agricultural items, yet countries still have to apply for waivers of the duty, what we call the common external tariff, to bring in agricultural produce from outside of their islands. We see tremendous demand for ginger, tremendous demand for turmeric, again, all of which is now being sourced external to our local market, which is CARICOM. Again, another tremendous opportunity. The regional heads have recognized this opportunity, and they have signed a deal to cut our food import bill across the region by 25%. Now, how many of you are familiar with that deal and are using agribusiness to put yourself in a position to take advantage of that opportunity? But the Jamaican brand, the Jamaican appeal, does not stop in the region. In fact, the international demand for our crops, our produce, our value-added items, and I'll speak about that shortly, is tremendous. The biggest export from Jamaica now is yams. Largely yams that come out of South Trelawney. That's our biggest agricultural produce export. And despite moving millions in US of yams, we still are nowhere near our complete market share. And I'm sure my Jamaica representative will tell you some of the actual figures in relation to the demand that we have tracked for things like Jamaican yams, dasheen, breadfruit, mangoes. Should I tell the mango story? I don't know if you know the mango story. We just started to re-export mangoes to the United States after a break for 20 years. In the first go around, we did 10,000 pounds of mangoes, our first mango season back. In 1 year, we were able to move from 10,000 pounds of mango to supply 100,000 pounds of mango. And we're only in 3 states. Opportunities are tremendous. Then you look at the opportunities in relation to our sauces, opportunities in relation to value-added produce, nutraceuticals, such as castor oil. And the fact that Jamaican black castor oil fetches one of the highest prices on the market in the United States. And we again are not able to fulfill the demand. So there are tremendous opportunities. What I ask you to do is to liaise with our Rural Agricultural Development Authority. We have about 12 crops, 9 primary, 3 secondary, that we're placing tremendous focus on because we've seen tremendous opportunity, not just based on local demand, but based on international demand, and also tremendous opportunity for value added. I'll tell you a little story about a group of Jamaican entrepreneurs in Portland who are now packaging roast breadfruit and shipping it off to Florida. Started as a nice family business where they were just growing breadfruit, roasting it and giving it away. And now they have turned it into a significant wealth earner. There are opportunities. But I know a number of you who are listening are saying, yes, we know there are opportunities, but agriculture is too risky. It's not worth the chance. We have to do more to make agriculture resilient. The government has to ensure that it's taking a business-oriented approach to agriculture. And with all of you, I would say, yes, I agree. Agriculture is high risk, and the government has to do more to ensure that business principles underpin the build-out of our agriculture sector. We're doing just that. In fact, we work with JAMPRO to develop a national agribusiness strategy, and that will help guide our movements for the next 5 years. And that will look at solving some of our long-standing issues. One, how do we gather data and how do we use that data to guide the decisions that we make? We're going to be setting up an agribusiness intelligence unit so that those of you who are anxious about getting involved in agriculture, in agribusiness, but you're looking for information, in short order, you'll be able to turn to the Ministry of Agriculture for that information as we build out the capacity to give you the agri-intelligence so you can make the right business decisions. We also recognize that there are long-standing issues such as storage and distribution. That is why the ministry is determined to build out a cold chain network across our country so that we can ensure that less of our produce goes to waste, and we can say to our farmers, really go out and plant because there is a market you can turn to. We're going to be focusing on value added, and we're going to be helping our private sector along that process by building out an incubator network. We've already started. We'll be looking at things like the crop insurance scheme that's eluded us for so long. We'll be exploring how can we address financing agriculture, working with our private sector to set up appropriate facilities so that it is easier to access funding. All of this ties into a massive program called the modernization of the agricultural sector, which thankfully we have already gotten funding from the IDB to the tune of US $25 million, 3.7 billion Jamaican dollars, to invest over the next 5 years to do, as it says, modernize our agriculture sector. The last point that I will make is that we have to incorporate our youth. And some of the things that I've already said, our young people are already thinking in that direction. But a lot of them are not choosing agriculture. I do hope by some of the opportunities that I have laid out, more of them will recognize that real wealth can be created in agribusiness, especially if you take a business-oriented approach.